There is a bridge across the River Niger, brand new. Thousands of Nigerians drive over it every day. Ask who paid for it, and the honest answer includes a man who has been dead since 1998. Nigerians tell a dark joke about him. They call him our most generous ancestor because for over 25 years, from beyond the grave, this one man has been sending money home, hundreds of millions at a time. The joke is real, the money is real, the grave is real. This is the story of how the money left, and the longest repossession in modern history, still dragging it back. You met the man last episode, General Sonny Abacha, the one who collected Nigeria without firing a shot 82 days after June 12 fell. Dark glasses, rarely spoke in public, ruled from 1993 to 1998 through pure fear, in a regime that jailed its own generals and hanged activists. But while the country watched the terror, something quieter was happening behind it, possibly the most audacious theft in African history. And here is the part that will upset you. There was no breaking in. Why break into a vault when the man guarding the treasury answers to you? Court filings later reconstructed the method, and it is almost insulting in its simplicity. A letter would arrive at the central bank, signed at the very top. The subject, urgent national security needs. The details, none. Security by definition is secret. And the central bank would pay. Investigators later described cash, physical cash, leaving the bank in vehicles, foreign currency by the crate. There was no project attached, no receipt issued, and no question asked. The word security did all the paperwork. From there, the money began its journey. Through family members, through trusted associates, through companies that existed mainly on letterhead. Destination, the quiet places. Switzerland, Jersey, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, London. The kind of banks where money goes to whisper. How much in total? Hold that question. It is the one question in this story that has never been fully answered. Not then, not now, not by anybody. June 8, 1998, Abacha died suddenly. And with him died the fear that kept every mouth shut. Weeks later, the new military government set up a panel to look into the books. The panel came back with a conclusion that stunned even cynical Nigerians: over $5 billion gone in under 5 years. And then something extraordinary happened. The family handed back $750 million. Quickly, quietly. Sit with that number. $750 million returned as an opening gesture. Now consider what that opening gesture suggests about the full estate. By 1999, Nigeria had a new civilian government and a one very focused mission: find the rest. So they hired a hunter, a quiet Swiss lawyer, fluent in exactly the world where the money was hiding. His fee, 4% of whatever he recovered. 4% sounds small. 4% of a mountain is a hill. He accepted the job. The lawyer went to work in the politest war zone on earth, European courtroom, tracing wires, piercing shell companies, freezing accounts one jurisdiction at a time. Switzerland alone froze hundreds of millions within the first stretch of the hunt. The family fought back with everything: appeals, technicalities, years of litigation across half of Europe. Their accounts were frozen, but frozen money feeds nobody. Which led in 2002 to one of the strangest deals in Nigerian history. The government sat across the table from the Abacha family to negotiate how much of Nigerians' money the family would be allowed to keep. The deal, as reported at the time, the family returns over $1 billion. Criminal charges against the son go away, and the family keeps $100 million. 100 million. For agreeing, take a moment. The moment is deserved. Around the same period, the man who had been Abacha's chief security officer offered the nation an alternative theory. The money, he suggested, was never stolen. It was savings set aside for a rainy day. Nigeria has seen many rainy days since. The savings were in Switzerland. Meanwhile, the legal hunt produced its masterpiece. Swiss courts examined the accounts and reached a landmark position. These funds were of criminal origin and they could go home even though their owner had never faced trial. The money was convicted, the man never was. And so began the strangest recurring event in Nigerian public life, the tranche. Every few years, a foreign government clears its throat and announces it has found more. The mid-2000s brought enormous Swiss returns, hundreds of millions at a time. And then came a problem nobody wanted to say out loud. One of those early return tranches, watchdogs later reported, arrived in Nigeria and could not be fully accounted for afterwards. Stolen money, recovered, and then unaccounted for. Again, there is a word for how the returning countries felt about that, and the word is diplomatic. So the rules changed. When Switzerland prepared its next major return, $322 million in 2018, it came with conditions, a signed agreement, and a chaperone, the World Bank, monitoring every naira of it into a cash program for Nigeria's poorest households. Then in 2020, the United States and the island of Jersey returned the next tranche, $311,797,866.11. The receipt was precise to the last coin. That money was locked, by agreement, onto three projects: the Lagos to Ibadan Expressway, the Abuja to Kano Road, and a certain new bridge across the River Niger. Yes, that bridge. The one from the start of this story. Paid for, in real part, by a man 22 years dead. The joke about the generous ancestor stopped being a joke and became infrastructure. The United States even attached a warning to its return, stated publicly, if this money gets stolen again, prepare to pay it back. Imagine being handed your own wallet with a caution letter. That is where decades of history had brought us. And still it continues. In 2022, America signed over another 23 million it had found. More recently, France announced 150 million more discovered on its own soil. More than a quarter century after the funeral, the estate is still paying out. Add the public tranches together, and the most conservative count sits above $3.5 billion returned. Other counts climbed past 4, and that is only what has been found. Now, remember the question you were holding. How much was taken in total? Here is the most honest answer available, and it comes from the government itself. When a civic group formally asked for the records, the government replied in writing. It holds no record of the exact amount Abacha stole. It holds no complete records of how years of recovered loot were spent. The country cannot fully say how much left. The country cannot fully say where all of it went after coming back. The ledger of the century has blank pages on both sides. Yet, the hunt itself changed the world. This case became the global textbook for chasing a dictator's money. It rewrote how Swiss banks treat rulers' deposits. And it proved for the first time at this scale that stolen national wealth can actually be dragged home. Slowly, expensively, one cut at a time, but home. And Nigerians, being Nigerians, asked one sharp final question. Many people have ruled this country. Why is only one man's money on a return journey? It is a fair question. It is above this channel's pay grade. We simply place it on the table and step back. So the dark joke stands. Our most generous ancestor still sending money home, tranche by tranche, decades after the burial. But under the joke sits the real lesson. This is what a signature can cost a country when nobody is allowed to ask questions. And this is how long the refund takes, 25 years and counting, with the meter still running. Somewhere in a bank vault tonight, in some quiet country, more of it is sitting, waiting for a compliance officer to frown at a foul. Next time, we rest our chests. After 3 heavy episodes, we turn to the oldest relationship in every Nigerian's life, the one that has heartbroken all of us, and yet we cannot leave. NEPA, a love story. Bring candle.